Hello there and welcome once again to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Amalta. Today is the 7th of August and as always I'm here to give you a daily dose of the latest gaming news. Today I have some news for you concerning Dragon Age Inquisition, as BioWare has released an absolute ton of information on the upcoming game via Game Informer, as it was of course a cover feature. And in addition to the fact that the new entry in the series will reintroduce multiple playable races and add mounts for the first time, the feature did also reveal fresh details on the story, world, battles and player choices. A number of NeoGAF members helpfully extracted all the useful information from the article, so big thank you to those guys there, and of course to Game Informer and BioWare for giving us this information via their cover feature. So let's take a look at the information that was revealed. Instead of just your characters growing, you also grow your Inquisition armies through lots of methods, ranging from doing favours, blackmail, finding ancient lore, collecting relics, obtaining secrets, making connections with other characters, and so forth. And an example that was given as to how this might work is that, say a castle turns you away, if you only have a few people you might just be turned away. However, if your Inquisition is an army, you can siege the castle to get inside. And concerning the worlds, they said that it is split into parts across multiple countries, but they're all at large and explorable. Instead of progress being gated by how many missions you've completed, you are gated by the power of your Inquisition. So you have to go explore across all of these different areas and find ways to increase your Inquisition's strength. Basically, they're asking you to think like DA2's first act, where you had to amass a ton of money, but on a much broader scale and with a lot more choice and variety in what you can do, and the entire game works like that. Also, apparently the Inquisition buffing doesn't overlap with your character growth mechanics like the gold mechanic did, so you don't have to avoid buffing yourself to save your cash. And as you might expect, the zones are all open world zones that work in any as the way any open world zone does. If you've played Skyrim or any open world game ever, you'll understand how they work. There's interesting stuff all around that can start quests or open up a new dungeon. And of course you can run into random monsters and have a mount to go help through the giant open areas. And apparently there will be a lot more environmental variety. And speaking of the environment, apparently there will be a lot of environmental interaction. For example, mages can repair bridges, and if you find an abandoned fort, you can turn it into an Inquisition base. And unlike Dragon Age 2, the PC version's controls will be tailored to the PC, which I'm sure is a huge yes for us PC users. And as I'm sure will also be a positive for many people, and they want to make the action less frantic and more deliberate, and making a return to the more tactics-based approach to encounters, and will be a big return to party-based tactics. And part of that will be slowing down the speed of your opponent's attacks. More important is designing enemies that force you to examine the battlefield and choose actions carefully. And they will be veering away from button mashing towards a structure where observation and reaction take precedence. And instead of swarming enemies, your foes will each have specialised roles, and they will work together and force you to size up the battlefield. And you will not regularly see waves of new bad guys appearing out of nowhere to extend encounters. We've all seen those invisible clown cars in many games, and well, it's been an immersion breaker to say the least. And PC gamers will apparently be getting an optimised version. PC is actually different, they said, especially from a control standpoint, trying to recapture the very tailored experience of Dragon Age Origins on PC. And as you might expect with such an open world game, there'll be a number of caves, dungeons and all that good stuff to explore, and lots of hidden side quests for you to discover. And BioWare will be trying to drive exploration, and they said, quote, in a way like Baldur's Gate, areas that exist in parts just as spaces that you went to, but they had a story of their own. And apparently they're trying to make a number of the caves unique and optional as well. For example, if you have a mage in your group, you can use them to reassemble a crumbled bridge to reach a new area. So the areas you can reach, as I said earlier, do kind of depend on who you have with you. And you can also restore a desert outpost into an Inquisition stronghold, so lots and lots of things to do in quite a large sounding open world. And they have also commented on the weather of the game, saying that, of course, it can impact exploration, for example, rain, sandstorms, snow, lightning, all of that good stuff. For example, rainy weathers can make areas muddy, which will of course slow down your forward progress, and sandstorms can inflict damage, which will make you have to cause shelter. And you'll be getting a new mage by the name of Vivienne, and apparently there was also heavy hinting that Leliana and Aveline will be making a return, but it was confirmed that Varric and Cassandra will join you. And they have confirmed that there'll be 3 classes to choose from: warrior, rogue and mage, and at least 3 races to choose from, which will of course be human, elves and dwarves at the moment, but they didn't discount the possibility of a 4th addition to the roster. And one of the final things that they discussed in this rather large glut of information is that the dialogue wheel will be making a return. But apparently BioWare have been focusing a lot on making your selections accurate to what your character actually says. And they've also now added an optional addition to the wheel that gives you a better idea of what to expect as of the outcome and so forth. So let's summarise. Basically, huge open world with weather effects that will of course impact your characters. Amassing an army and your size and strength of your army will affect what quests, areas and so forth you can explore, and even your party members will affect that as well, with of course the use of mages to repair bridges and so forth. And of course there's whole siege combat as well, laying siege to castles, and of course mounted combat, and the return of multiple races. Of course there's lots of smaller details, but I'd say the hugest tidbits are those ones there. This is shaping up to be a very good game indeed, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this, guys, as to, well, what you make of the information. Was there anything that jumped out at you in particular, and what makes you go, oh, that sounds really cool, or oh my god, I don't like that? Or, but to be honest, most of it sounds really good. It sounds like they've definitely taken some of the feedback after Dragon Age 2 on board and tried to improve this game as well as make it stand out among the series, which is always a good thing. And it's always nice to see exploration being encouraged in such a big way. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.